Welcome to another episode of the Booktroverts podcast with your two favorite gals. I'm Michaela.
I'm Meg.
Today is our first book club episode. We both finished reading the Divine Rivals series by Rebecca Ross, so we're going to do a full deep dive and share our thoughts. This is a warning that we will be giving spoilers, so if you have not read both Divine Rivals and the sequel, Ruthless Vows, pause this episode and come back after you've read them.
Yeah, definitely don't want to spoil anything. Quick summary, though, description of how Divine Rivals is it's two rival journalists, Iris and Roman, who find love through a magical connection during a war between gods. The connection follows them to the front lines, aka the depths of hell, whatever you want to call it there. And they both kind of risk their lives to change the tides of the war. That's like the short version of it. I guess, Michaela, what was your rating on it? I'm curious if we had the same thoughts on this or if we're completely different.
I gave it a 4, and
Okay.
I will say that this was my second time trying to read this. So the first time, I think it was like back in November after I read Iron
You
Flame.
did mention that, yeah.
I DNF'd this book so hard. Like I was 16% through, and I was just like, I do not understand. Why is everyone talking about this book? Like, I hate it. It is so slow, and I don't care about these typewriters. Like, I could not be bothered.
I love the honesty.
It was honestly like the first time I had DNF'd a book. And then
Oh, wow.
when we picked it, I was like, yeah, I'm happy to give it another shot. I re-downloaded it. My Kindle automatically started it back up at the 16% mark. And I was like, okay, back to the beginning. When I tell you I flew through the first 16%, I was like, why did this take me 3 weeks the last time I tried to read it? So also say you need to be in the mood to read certain things. And this is one of them,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And you said that was after you did another series of the fantasy realm that you had. So I feel like it's totally different when you're jumping between the two.
Yes, this was after I read Fourth Wing and then Iron Flame back to back.
There's no way this competes.
There's literally no way this competes. But like, even like, what book do you read after the perfection that is?
You literally need to read something completely different.
Yeah, I think I went to like a smutty book after because I was like, I need to completely shift gears. But like, I was in the fantasy mood. I was like, I'll continue. Everyone's talking about this fantasy book. Needless to say, it was a me problem, not the book. I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. And I think the only way like I could describe it is like cozy read, cozy fantasy.
Yeah, it wasn't as...
You feel the same way?
Yes, so it wasn't as in-depth. I gave it a 4 as well. It wasn't as in-depth as some of them are. Like if we're using Fourth Wing or Agatar as an example, those, I need notes on what's going on. I need the map out. I basically just need a whiteboard of information. And this, I felt it was a little bit easier to grasp and there wasn't too much going on. It was just, here are the gods, here are the people.
Mm-hmm. Did this one even have a map at the beginning, now that I think about it? Did they give us like a world building map?
I don't know, but I should look because I don't think I need one.
Oh, no,
in my head, I just had them
like, that should have been our first
west
time.
Was my view of just every town was next to each other and they were just going along that route is kind of how I had it in my head.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like this was like a good blend of like kind of a little bit of magic. Well, a little bit of magic. A little bit of like some world building. Those like fantasy elements, but then if you like a romance book, you got that too.
Yeah.
I love Iris and Roman, their banter back and forth through the typewriters, like kicking my feet. Good. Loved it.
Yeah, they honestly, Roman probably is one of my favorite, I don't want to say male lead because that's definitely from a movie, but he definitely is the male focus obviously in the series, and I just love him. I love him in it. He's so genuine, even when he was being sassy, during their early conversations through the typewriters. He just had a way about him that I was like, I want more of him. And I'm so happy the author put in his point of view because there wasn't supposed to be. They said at the beginning it was only supposed to be. Yeah, she put in a note at the beginning.
And it shows you that I read those.
I don't know
I
why.
just jumped right to the
I
chapter.
just, I just got into
You're
starting to
reading the
read those.
dedications.
Yeah, it's ever since the weird book that we started off in the earlier of the
Oh,
year
yeah.
that the dedications I need to read now. So,
And the trigger
uh, the
warnings.
trigger warnings, you need those. You got to prepare yourself on what you're getting
Oh,
into, and
how
if you're in
interesting.
that mood for those,
Yeah.
But yeah, she was only gonna write it from Iris's point of view, and I'm so happy that we got Romans because I don't think I would have liked the book at
Oh,
all.
I definitely would
I
not have liked it
I
without
d
him.
Because I like the back and forth. You know what? It just reminds us of the smut books that we read from
Mhm.
any like Megan Quinn specifically.
Oh, our
You know,
queen.
our queen, basically, we live by her
Yeah, I like
life.
how, like, we're it's shocking we're not starting with a Megan Quinn read, but, like, how many do we have left? We read most of them.
I know. I think we're
Well, I
probably
know
at
we still have a
15.
lot on the backlist, but,
Yeah, yeah.
we
But
read the
it
good ones.
seriously felt like that with the back to back that I really enjoyed because it gave you that the two point of views and you had the whole story as the reader,
Yeah.
but you knew they didn't obviously because they're not living both sides, they're only living one. You're just like, oh, this is this person. You should know this, or it
Yeah.
so much better that way. Yeah,
I wanna know what you thought too, like, I thought the connection between the typewriters was such, like, a unique aspect to the book. I
yeah,
really liked that, and how the letters would come underneath their wardrobes, and how it really
yeah,
was just because these 3 had been created for that purpose. It wasn't like everyone's typewriters did this, even though, like, they lived in,
yeah,
like, a magical land. I just thought it was cute, and then I don't I liked, like, how okay, I'm torn. I liked how Roman would read her letters. He knew it was from her because she was talking
yeah,
about her brother and they obviously worked together. So, like, he knew some of her backstory. But,
yeah,
like, part of me was just like, okay, you're being like shady, not telling her, like, hey, I know you,
yeah,
your coworker. I feel like I would have been like annoyed if I was her finding out, like, what the heck? My coworker, my rival, there were rivals at work, is like getting my
yeah,
deepest, darkest feelings about what's going on in my personal life. But they needed that for him to like build those feelings and then work to kind of build that relationship with her in real life. But I don't
yeah.
know, as a reader, it was so hard because then I'm putting myself, me, I always put myself as
Yeah.
the character, and I'm like, how am I feeling about
Always.
this? So I don't know. Did you have thoughts about that, or were you just taking it as it was?
No, honestly, I was annoyed, and one of the things I kind of wish that happened is when she found out, I wish there was more annoyance on her side. It was only a little bit from
Yeah.
my remembering of the timeline because I have the two books blended together at this
Oh
point
yeah, of
where I
course.
can't distinguish what was what, but I don't think she was mad at him for as long as I would be. That would be a huge thing, and I would have liked
Yeah.
it if they were more mad at each other when they went to the front lines, where
Yes.
they were really against each other. Like I know she kind of was a little bit, but I would have liked way more going on. And then him saving her basically and injuring himself was the oh my god, because she did have a little bit of that, but I think there could have been more impact there. And I don't know how, but I was looking for a bit more of okay, I want
I
more
completely
disgust.
agree.
I want to be mad at Roman. I really want to be mad at him. Let's give
Yeah.
Iris more of that frustration
That
there.
is a awesome take that is how the author should have done it. Like they
Yeah,
had their or she Iris had her oh my god, I actually do have feelings for him moment in the
yeah.
trenches when they went to the front lines.
Yeah. Yeah, because I
That
think
would
it
have
was
been way better.
after. Yeah, because it was after when he was injured, and I think she realized it and reread the letters. But yeah, I would have liked it in that moment. Explosions, people are dying right next to you, the whole ba-
Yeah, so
battalion, squad, whatever
romantic.
you were in. Like,
Yeah. It's giving
yeah,
the
just
notebook.
especially because if you're going into a fantasy world, there's so little of appreciation for what's going on now or having happiness because the whole thing about this book was very much well you can't really look at the happy times because we're dealing with war. Well, you should look at the happy times because we're in war, and don't take it for granted. And I'm like, yeah, we probably could have had a little bit more of that. It would have been a little bit
Yeah.
better. So but I overall I loved them. I One thing I do want to call out that I think I don't know how you feel about this, but was suspecting certain people from the book
Oh,
and how we
100%.
learn more from the second one. I had Keegan as my suspicion of, and then I think I
Okay.
had Addie as well. But Keegan was my number one of I thought she was actually fighting for is it Dacre? It's not.
Yes,
I
I
say
call him
daiquiri.
I was saying daiquiri the whole time reading it.
It's
Thank
those
God for the
videos. You're like blah
song.
blah 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 blah,
Oh,
and
yes.
he went to yada yada yada.
Mhm.
That's how I
Literally
read
me.
his name. So if
I
I
just
butcher
skipped
this
right
like
over it.
5 times,
It's
it's
fine.
fine. I thought Keegan was fighting for him. I thought she was not who she actually was in the whole series.
Okay, when they first were telling us about Keegan, I thought she didn't
Yeah.
exist. Like, she was
Okay.
dead.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't, and then when she showed up, I was like, oh, you're a real person. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. I wrote this down. The book, I would say, has a very linear plot line,
Yes. Yeah.
and it moves in a very linear pace in the sense that I'm so used to looking for the clues and what's the twist going to be
Yeah.
and like being suspicious of all the characters, where this is like genuinely just a cozy, straightforward read.
Yeah.
You are just reading it. There are no big twists.
There wasn't a lot of betrayal. There wasn't a lot of I absolutely adore this side character and then they completely do something out of the blue.
Yeah. But like I kind of
Yeah.
wanted that. Like I needed a little
Yeah.
drama.
Every
I
single
liked
person
it.
that copped in, I go suspicious, suspicious.
Yeah.
They could have been the mailman and I'm saying
Literally
suspicious.
me. I'm like, Addie, suspicious. Marisol, you're just running this B&B and you're letting these war
Yeah.
correspondents come? Suspicious. What are you doing?
Well, what got me even more suspicious about her and Keegan was when Dacre's I'm gonna say that wrong every time. His wyvern were bombing the area, and
Hmm.
she and Marisol said, "As long as I'm in the house, it wouldn't fall." I immediately started going, "Is she a goddess fall?
Yes.
Why?
I
Why
thought that
can't it
too.
fall? Why can't it fall?" I understand there were magical houses and whatnot, but this house did not scream any magical elements because it wasn't making the tea warm like the
Oh,
cute
yeah.
little
That was
spot that
kind
they
of
would
nice,
go to.
though.
I would like that.
Oh,
Give me
you
some
know
hot
what?
chocolate that stays hot all the time.
Speaking of the magical places, you know which one I wish was real? When she said she walked into the little corner store and
Yeah,
the stuff that she couldn't afford automatically left the shelves. I would love that. I would
I would
same
actually see
budget.
a realistic. Yeah, I
Imagine you
agree.
went into Target and anything that wasn't in your budget just wasn't even an option for you.
Sold.
What a
It would help
glorious
me.
idea.
I'd
Yes.
have a third of the store, but at least I'd have expectations realistically of what I
Yes.
can do and can't do.
And I would not have buyer's remorse. I would love that.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
yes, and the cafe when everything was just always hot all the time.
Yeah.
Like, ugh,
Yeah. And
what a
even
dream.
Roman's house, I think, had it where he would ask for something and it would just appear.
Oh yeah, they
And
would turn the lights on and off for him.
yeah, I was questioning though, and I know I'm going a little bit sideways with the typewriters. You know how it's Iris's grandmother that had the typewriter? I wonder
Yeah.
if her house was magical too. Like, was
I
there
needed
something with the
more with the
three?
grandma.
Yeah, I didn't
Where
get
did
enough of certain characters.
where did the three people go?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who was the third person that had the one that was in the museum?
Yeah, I forget what they're. I don't remember that person. It was mentioned in the second one of, oh, this is the dad created these magical typewriters. Well, how? Did the gods create them for you? Who's creating them for you? I
Hmm.
there was a couple things that I was missing, which is why I'm going far ahead with the second one, but there was a couple things I wish we got more information about.
Yeah.
But
No, but going back to what you're saying about like being suspicious, that was like,
yeah,
head on a swivel. I was like, oh, here's the moment. It's gonna happen right now. And then it would just be like, and they're exactly how I said they were. And I was just like,
the whole time there
great.
was nothing. There was no the only person who had no, because he was suspiciously gone forever was Forrest. The one huge
Oh
thing
yeah,
at
that
the
was like the
end.
one thing we got.
But
Which like
even that,
but at that point I had given up my quest of like these people have a double meaning to things. So I was like, you know what? I'm just taking
exactly.
everything at face value. And I
Yeah,
was like, it
yeah,
is Roman. No, that the gas that they dropped in those bombs.
yeah.
Oh my god, it must have had curing powers. And now that his limp is gone. This
No.
is Roman. He's just trying to get her out. And then
I at first I thought he wasn't injured. Like he was
like lying about
not
it.
as injured and not as injured as he thought he was. And then that's why he was able to get her out of the gas. Like all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm fine. But the timeline would have not made sense at all. But in my head, that's what I had going on. I didn't
Yeah.
think it was, yeah, I didn't think it was the gas like you thought, but I just thought he miraculously was
And then
fine.
when it was like Forrest, I was like, oh, okay. Like, look at me. I've been suspicious of everyone. When there's finally a moment, I
Yeah,
dropped the ball.
yeah, yeah. I didn't suspect him at all, but it was also interesting because they kind of were giving you the breadcrumbs. of
Mhm.
when, oh, I don't have both uniforms.
Oh,
Oh,
yep.
there's less food.
The pack
That's where
had
I
the Go pack was missing.
that's why I thought it was Keegan. I thought she was having her people steal things to help out Dacre instead of
Mhm.
Enva. Like I really thought
Yeah.
that's where it was going, but it didn't end up going that way. So, just crossed out that suspicion
Yeah.
immediately.
No, Keegan, yeah, she was an interesting one. Marisol, like with the BMP, like I thought the same thing. Like
Yeah,
the house won't go down if as long as you're in it. Are you magically tied to this house?
right.
If you step outside, is the house going to crumble, or is just the house magical? I feel like there was
Yeah,
definitely some open questions that I was having.
yeah,
Um,
agreed.
and then obviously, like the main plot of the book is like these two gods are at war with each other. So we have
Yeah,
like Enva, who is singing these people to come and fight for her, and she's supposed to be, or she's described as being a healer and for the people. And then we have
yeah.
Dacre, who's like portrayed as the villain, and he's kind of coming into these towns and like bombing them in an effort to kind of get back at Enva. The whole time, I was like, "Is this really what this means? Am I supposed to just take this like she's the good one and he's the bad one?" Literally, even until the end of the second book, I was waiting for them to drop the twist that she was the villain.
Okay, I was wondering why these people would hear a song and say, "Okay, I'm gonna go fight." And why aren't there as many people fighting? What's going on? I'm with you because I expected something to be a twist with them too, but there wasn't. It was truly, again, it was just face value of here's this, oh no, this is the bad guy. We're trying to fight for all of our people and make sure we have a safe and peaceful world. And what, well, I guess what used to be before he kind of
Mm-hmm.
went wild, and then, you know, they were sleeping for a while. So, yeah, it was just, I don't know, maybe we've read too many things that are twists and
Yeah,
turns at every corner, and we're just so used to that
we're
that
like, you're
I
not gonna
can't
get
read
us.
something. Yeah. We're like suspicious, suspicious, definitely guilty. What did you do in a past life? And then
Mm-hmm.
it's no, this is it.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I would just going back to when we were saying it's very much like cozy, a more slower paced fantasy book.
Yeah.
For being a book about war, they are literally at the front lines. There is not
Yeah.
much action. Most of the book, in the first book at least,
Yeah.
Iris and Addie, who I loved Addie. I
Yeah,
thought
me
she was
too.
a good side character.
Yeah.
They're like gardening and going to
Yeah.
the medical center. Like
Yeah.
they're just chilling.
So much downtime that I understand it was
Yeah.
nice for the bond between them, but I would have liked more of on the front lines and maybe not directly where bombs are happening, but being the first responders to help out because they technically were, but it was far enough away where they only brought certain soldiers back to be
Yeah.
healed and all of that.
Hmm.
It would have been better if they were really in there and maybe they had some moments of joy and happiness. And I think it would have been better with the saying of enjoying the little moments during the war. It would have made so much more sense with her and Roman getting married and everything too. Is just, oh no, this is like a one in a lifetime thing. You kind of have to do this because we might just be bombed in 2 seconds, you
Yeah.
know?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, for war correspondence, they did have a lot of downtime. They weren't
yeah,
seeing much war because it was one at a time could go depending on
yeah,
seats in the lorries.
yeah,
So yeah, and I feel like they wrote like two articles in the first book about the war.
yeah. I don't even
Like
think
it was
they
a
wrote a
very
lot.
short time period because then he came and bombed the town
Yeah,
we're at. Also, okay, Roman showing up because he has left his fiance because he realizes he's in love with her.
yeah,
Very romantic, coming to the war front to be with
yeah,
her.
yeah,
But you're gonna win this girl over by taking her out on runs.
yeah.
Like that was his idea of a
That's not
date.
happening.
Like
No.
we're running up hills, we're
At
sweaty.
least do the gardening with her. That
Granted,
would
the
have made
running
more sense.
did come in handy at the end when
I
like
mean,
she
it
was
did.
outrunning gas. So I know that that was the author just putting in some foreshadowing. But if any man was taking me on a running date, it'd
It's
be over
over.
before it started.
It'd be over before it started. Exactly.
And
I
she's
am
falling in love
not
with
into
him,
running. Yeah. I,
but like
if
not
you
even
took me to
flats.
breakfast, I'd be more
He's
excited.
like, we're gonna
Sold.
run up this massive hill so you can see this random view of a town you've never been to.
And it's probably going to get bombed in 2 days. So, we're just going to look at it as a last view of, oh, look what used to be here. It's
Yeah,
basically what
that
it
was
was.
my one thing about that. I was like, running?
Yeah.
Do better. But he
Agreed.
redeemed himself with the wedding that they had at the end of the first
Yeah.
book,
Yeah.
which was very sweet that they did that. I'm glad that they fit that in. Of course, this book was like, of course, this is happening now. Very
Yeah.
predictable. Of course, the day after the wedding, oh, we have finally
Of course. Yeah.
had sex. Like,
Yeah.
we're both no longer virgins. We've slept on these pallets, this sleeping bag on a pallet, which
With
that
just the
sounds
extra
miserable.
blankets.
Splinters in the middle of it. Like,
Yeah, no
who
thanks.
knows? By candlelight.
Yeah. No, they had to turn off,
Oh,
remember?
yes, they had to turn them
Because of
off.
the
So
warnings. Just in the dark, searching.
you're searching for the first time.
Dedication.
Of course, the next day, it's like, oh, the bombs are coming. Like, of course. And then she's just separated from her husband, who she literally just married, has only slept with, I mean, hopefully twice at least. Hopefully they went a few times.
At least they had a second round there.
Hopefully, come on, give it to the smutty girls here. You can
Yeah,
tell me read that.
exactly.
And then, like, they're gone. They're separated for, I don't know how long, like, that
Yeah.
the end of the second book is. Probably at least a few weeks.
I was gonna say at least a month because it was 2 weeks in between the two. And I only remember that because I
Yes.
literally just checked it the other day and it said 2 weeks. So I'm gonna go a month
Mm.
is what they had in between.
Okay. So they get married, then the bombs happen.
Yeah.
The gas bombs, which like his ex-fiance was making.
Yeah.
He
Love that.
called it though.
He
He
did.
called it and then he dumped
He knew
her.
it was
Good.
happening. Yeah. His dad is a whole different thing, which I know we focus more on the second one. So we might want to transition at some point into the second one because his dad is a character.
Yes,
It,
I was actually doing a transition into the second one, so
yeah.
same
Same
brain.
mind.
Okay, so gas bombs coming down.
Yeah.
Roman is taken out.
Yeah.
He is injured. He has a
Yeah.
limp. He can't do anything. Iris is saved. We find out it's Forrest, her brother, who had been fighting, and that's all she had been trying to find was her brother
Yeah.
because her mom had passed away. All she wanted to do was be with her brother, and he knew she was there the whole time. And then she's saying, "Can we
You knew.
please just rescue my husband that I just married last night?" And he's like, "We have no time." It would have taken him probably 15 seconds to run the 10 feet into the field and drag
Well,
him.
that was my thing. It's not like he's so far behind.
Forrest and Iris, neither, like, Iris wasn't hurt. Forrest wasn't hurt. Between the two
No,
of them, they could have drag him through the forest.
easily.
But
Easily.
no, he didn't want to.
Nope.
So instead, your sister's been looking for you, literally went to the war front to find you, but we'll leave her husband for dead.
Yeah. And she even, at first, I was like, okay, no, he only has his memories of just his sister. He's trying to get her to safety, doesn't know anyone else. But then she says, that is my husband. We need to go
Yeah.
back and get him along those lines. And is trying to fight him. And then I think he just knocks her out and
Yeah.
then goes, okay,
Like,
that's it.
she definitely makes an effort to be like, no, we need to get him. And just
Yeah.
leaves him for dead. And then
Yeah.
that's where the first book ends.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an interesting ending for sure.
Oh, wait. Or does the first book end with them going back and seeing the circle? They see the circle.
I think they do, but still, in my mind, it ends there because I
Yeah, I was
just
done with
was
him at
so
that
annoyed with
point.
Forrest.
So annoyed. So
Yeah,
they go back. They
yeah,
see that Roman is gone from the field. There's this big
yeah,
circle, and Forrest tells her, like, he's better off dead at this point.
yeah.
Dacre
Because
has
they saw
taken
the
him.
blood, I think, too, at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Forrest knows that Dacre takes her soldiers
yeah,
and will take them underneath to like his little realm and heal them and basically enslave them to be in his army. And
yeah,
he was saying to Iris, you would rather Roman be dead than be in
yeah,
that situation. So we know it's bad either way
yeah,
going into the second book. And then that's when
yeah,
the second book starts. It's 2 weeks after this situation, and they're back in their apartment in Oath.
yeah. Exactly.
And
So to
started.
kind of give a quick summary of what the second one is before we really jump into it, it brings Iris and Roman more intertwined into the war, obviously because Roman is with Dacre and Iris is back home just chilling with Forrest. And she's given a second chance to report on Dacre's movements, which gets interesting because there's a whole different aspect to that. While Roman can't even remember his past. And we know Forrest kind of has some information there too, which I think helps the story a little bit more. And as his memory does return, he must decide which side he actually wants to fight for, which I find interesting for the second book. That was probably my favorite part of the second one.
Yeah.
Just gonna jump right into there and say that.
Yeah. So what did you rate the second book?
I actually rated it a 3, and I might have been harsh, but I know because I don't know. I think what it was, and it just felt rushed a bit. I would have liked it to
Mm.
either be a super long one book, just
Mm-hmm.
one and done, and give us two parts or something. You know, some books do that where you get a couple parts in there. I would have been fine with that, but I don't know. I think the side characters for me it could have been built on because again, like this first one, like we said, I kept getting suspicious of every single person. But
Mm-hmm.
then, we had Addie with the relationship kind of and I'm forgetting his name at the moment, the guy who drove the car
Okay, I'm
everywhere.
forgetting his name
And
too, and I was gonna say, do you remember what his name was?
no, no, and you know what it was? Because he wasn't that important. Yes, he had some parts that he was important, but
Yeah. I think it was like
I wish he
Tobias.
had more. You know what? That actually might be
That
accurate. Out
feels
of all
right.
my notes, he is the one thing that I don't have written down his name.
It feels right to
Yeah,
me. We'll
I
call
think
him
that,
Tobias. If you read the book and
you
that's
know
not
what?
his name, you know who we're talking about. The driver.
Exactly. The driver, the one who is the getaway car.
The getaway car.
just,
That's what he
just the
was.
literally the getaway car
He is what
in
Taylor
many
Swift wrote about.
instances. Exactly. Just specifically at this time and age. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the two books was the right amount, but I could have gone longer books to add more. Um, and I was more
No, that
annoyed with the ending. I don't want to get into that just yeah, I want your
yeah.
thoughts first, but the ending was a little bit annoying to me.
Yeah, I think you bring up good points. And now if I think about it, I probably would have preferred one book as well. Cut out some of the
Yeah.
gardening
Yeah.
and
Just
yeah,
get
give
rid
a
of the
part one,
gardening,
part
in my
two, and
opinion.
have it be like 800 pages. I think that would have been more complete.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um yeah, so we start the book off with they're back in their apartment, but Roman
Yeah.
wakes up and he's healed,
No idea
but
where I
he has
am.
no clue where he is and he can't even remember his name.
Yeah.
Doesn't know
Yeah,
what's
that
going
was
on.
that was because at that point we don't know about Dacre wiping memories because Forrest
Yes, we don't know
I
about the
think yeah, because he didn't mention anything yet, because he didn't want to talk to Iris about it just yet.
yeah. And I feel like
Yeah,
Forrest could have played a bigger role in this book than he did.
I
He
agree.
kind of was around in the beginning and then he just was like, I'm going to get a job and see ya.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so
Yeah,
Iris has no clue where Roman is. She's trying to find him. She decides she's going to go back to the front.
yeah,
And so she goes back to the ink ridden Tribune
yeah.
to go be a correspondent with Addie again.
Which I like the fact that they were together again, because I think it
Hmm.
added more to
Yep.
her story.
And then Roman is kind of starting to come back to his memories. I think when they gave him so Dacre takes the two typewriters from the B&B because they were
Yeah,
lost when the bombs happened, and he asks Roman to pick which one he wants, and Roman can identify the one that is his. But then we find out that Dacre actually gave him Iris's. So like I feel like
was
Dacre was
he?
trying to guide him to figure out, oh, you have this woman that you left, but that also makes no sense because he wants him to be a loyal slave, basically. So I was
I,
confused
you
by
know,
that.
I was actually, yeah, I was actually wondering if he was too afraid that if it was definitely Romans, he'd have more of a connection to it. Not that he knows
Oh,
anything about the magical aspect, but I didn't know if that was just a,
like maybe he had
oh, we're
little
gonna,
secret notes hidden in the keys.
right, exactly. Like, this is who you are, this is what you're about, and don't believe anything he says. I don't know. Little things that could have been
Hmm.
important, but I mean, yeah, that was odd. And then I just don't know. I can't remember what they end up doing with the
They
typewriters.
smashed it.
Dacre smashed it. Okay, I
Yep,
thought so.
they
I thought he was
smashed
going to
it.
keep it for himself. I thought he was going to
I
keep
thought
it
so
and
too, and
just
that would have
hide
been
it.
way smarter.
If he somehow ended up in the intertwined with the typewriter conversations, that
Yeah,
would have
see,
been
like, come
so much
on,
cooler.
why didn't Rebecca call us? We've given so
I
many
don't know.
good ideas to make this book better. Focus group on
Do
three.
a part, yeah, do like a version 2 of the second book.
Mick and
I'd
Meg's
highly recommend.
version. The re-release
Specifically call us out for this.
from the vault chapters.
The fall chapter. I feel like a lot of Taylor Swift references are gonna happen, so fair warning going forward
Oh, of course,
for
obviously.
anyone listening.
Um, yes. Also, speaking of the typewriters, I knew. I was like, there happens to be three. We're of course going to need this third typewriter at some point in the first book, head on a swivel.
Yeah, yeah,
Did I think it was going to be in the most obvious way? Absolutely not. I thought a third person was getting these correspondence and listening in and was going to be another god or something,
right.
being the writer of my own story. But when they literally were just like, oh, it's sitting in a museum, we're just going to break into the museum and grab it so that in the hopes that Roman has his typewriter and I can talk to him, which that was good of her to think of because he
Yeah,
did have the typewriter.
yeah,
But tell me why they were able to break into that museum so easily. They're like, oh, there's just one window that doesn't have a magical enchantment, and I know exactly what window it is, and we can easily reach it. It's not the window at the top of the building, it's just an easily reachable
right.
window. Oh, the
Yeah,
security
I would
guard
have
is
liked
just chilling
more.
in this room. They
Yeah,
literally just walk in, they smash the glass, they just take it.
yeah, and that was my thing. Why rating it 3 personally for me was if it. I think if I wasn't into taking notes and trying to understand what was going on in the book, and was just reading this as a. I'm just reading it for fun. When I started reading books, I don't think I would have been suspicious or annoyed about anything. I would have been like, "Oh, cool! There's a random window. That's awesome! A nice secret passageway."
Yeah.
But in my head now, I'm like, "What? No, we should have had some secret thing where you're dressed up as the guards and you had to
Yeah.
knock one out there on the side of the wall."
It's
I'm
like,
honestly putting
do
Harry Potter mindset in that one there, but give me something
yeah,
sneaking
it's
in.
like you're breaking into a magical building,
Yeah,
stealing a magical typewriter, and you're telling
yeah,
me there's not one security thing that happens.
yeah. And
There
wasn't
was
it the
one
one?
security guard,
Okay.
but you're telling me the glass just breaks. It's not
Yeah,
tripped glass. It's not like you take it and some spell triggers, like none of that.
I was hoping for like a tripwire. I
Yeah,
really was hoping for
yeah, they're like,
something.
okay, and we're just gonna walk back out the window we came in with this typewriter.
The only thing nerve-wracking was the suspicious men on the ground that they had to basically freeze in the tree to not be seen, just so that they weren't attacked or put in jail or whatever the consequences would have been. But yeah, I was expecting more suspense. There just wasn't as much. I think there was more on Roman's side than there was on Iris' side.
Oh yeah,
Iris' side way too easy.
Roman was fighting for his life. He's down there with the villain.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
starting to get his memories back, and he's basically like undercover.
Yeah.
Again, I'm okay. I love how sassy Iris is. She's a good
Yeah.
personality, but I did prefer
Yes.
the Roman chapters in both books.
Yeah.
And I like how he was like, risking his life. He's looking at the
Yeah.
maps on the table and he's passing very valuable information to Iris
Yeah.
through the letters. Thank God he warned her, like, hey, they're going to come attack this town. And she was able to get everyone out. But
Right.
okay, my biggest issue with this second book, why? They're supposed to be journalists, both of them.
Yeah.
Why did the author make Iris like the dumbest human being in the second book? She was intelligent in the first one. What happened in the 2 weeks that they were separated?
Okay, I'm gonna sound, I don't know. I feel like it's the typical we gotta rush and get the second book out because people are so into the first one. And I think there
Yeah.
were some things dropped from the point of view. I would have rather had her be the smart person she was for both of them because we at least would have had consistency. It was very much a fell off the cliff
Hmm.
for me with her
Look at you
genius.
blowing the lid off the whole thing. It was a cash grab for like 6 months. Crank this
I
thing
don't
out.
even know if that's accurate. I didn't even check when they were published, but in my
Compromise if
head,
you need to.
done. Yeah.
Like he literally said to her, do not send me a letter first because he is undercover. He's underground with the villain.
Also,
He could
the
be killed in a
ER.
second.
Were you reading it as if you were a weird robot, like broken in movements?
He or and he's literally saying, do not send me a letter first because if he got caught sending letters to her, he's
Yeah,
supposed to not have his memories. And he realizes, like, oh, if I start to make it obvious that I've remembered my life,
right.
he's going to realize that he's going to try and heal me again. The way he healed was removing their memories.
Right.
So he's out here protecting himself, and she's just like, I haven't heard from him in 6 hours. I'm going to send him another letter.
Yeah, I need to write a note.
Like,
What?
I get it. We've all sent the double text, but he's
Yeah.
literally telling you, do not, it's life or death. And she's just like, ER, is the
Yeah.
space working?
Yeah. And then you know what drove me nuts too is I think Dacre was a little bit dumb at this point, but then again, he didn't have the letters until far late when someone gave them to him. But someone sees the letter and obviously is going to know that it's Iris because she specifically changed her name in her own the journal, like her writing the articles specifically said Iris E. She specifically put her middle initial
Oh, yeah,
there,
she put E in, and then she was signing
R
her letters to
E.
Roman Elizabeth.
Yeah, you can't do
Also,
that.
that kind of annoyed me too. She realizes that Roman doesn't remember her. And
Yeah,
instead of being like, this is Iris, I am your wife, we used to work together, just send him a letter with your backstory. She's like, I'm going to go by Elizabeth. And then
yeah,
her questions to him,
the
what
man.
did I name my turtle or something like that? Something about a turtle. Every question in
Yeah,
the world, and you're bringing up a turtle. We didn't even hear about that in the first book. Where did this come from?
we we did once, and the
Oh,
only reason why
okay.
I'm
Was she
correcting you
paying
there is
attention more than
because
me?
literally because I wrote it down as what did these three have to do, and I went back to the first one and found it
Oh my God.
because
Above and
I was so
beyond.
annoyed. I was just annoyed. I'm like, what does this have to do? That'd be like honestly, it was like a security question for your bank account. What is my
Look at you. You
mother's
went above
maiden
and beyond.
name?
You're like, I'm going to go fact check the first book. I'm like, turtles. What? Moving on. So
I
take
went a
everything I
little
say with a grain
crazy
of
on this
salt because the details get blurred up here. I'm on to like
but
I'm
that
like
was the
3 books
only
past
thing.
this. Um,
Yeah, I'm very
yeah.
far.
So that pissed me off. Bitch,
Yeah,
give him a break. He'll write to you when he's free. He's with the villain.
I know. And then on top of it, he can't, which bogged my mind. I don't know why. I don't know why. But why is a certain wardrobes next to a heart are the only ones that are okay? So he has to creep downstairs, slip it
Oh yeah.
underneath. So he had to specifically go to the room that they had the map
Oh
and
yeah,
pretend he's just there.
all of a sudden in this book, oh, it had to be certain wardrobes that it worked. Like she was in a laundry room. I
Yeah.
was like, you can't be switching up
No,
details like that.
no, because I didn't like it because there wasn't the consistency again.
Sarah
And I
J. Maas
just
would
felt,
never.
no, it would have been the same thing.
She would never. She'd be like,
Like I
remember that
said,
thing I told you in like that other series on page 12? Like, yeah, see, it's still here.
yeah, this thing is important from book one. You're gonna need this
You'll
in
need
book
this in book,
seven, eight.
yeah, book 10. It's coming back.
In
The
15 years, you need to remember this one key thing.
you better remember that turtle.
Except that dang turtle.
The other part that really just highlighted how dumb she was as a character. Again, she is a journalist. She is writing headline articles.
Yeah.
She has the dream when she's in the museum. It is so obvious in the dream
Yeah.
that she is talking to Enva. She's literally showing her, grab this sword out of the museum. This sword will kill Dacre. Walk to this door. It looks like this. Go through the door, jump over these stones, and you need to kill him here. This is how you need
Yeah.
to do it.
And you have to
She's,
cut off his head. I think she specifically says too, you
yes,
have to cut off his
she's
head.
literally giving her a blueprint. These people would have never came to this conclusion without this dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally giving her a
Agreed.
blueprint. And then she's like, who is this?
Well, and then because
Who?
wasn't it also yeah? Because she started off, and I think specifically said she started off coming into her dreams as her mother
As her
and
mom.
would play certain music. Which I'm just gonna go back for a second. The mom's death was like nothing important for me.
Oh yeah,
There
they're
was
like
nothing.
she just got hit
She
by a
died.
she got hit by like a bus.
Okay, were you just I'm done with life? I braided your hair one last time. Hurrah, it was a mom daughter thing, and then I'm just gonna die. Or was she drunk? I couldn't remember.
She was drunk and then she got hit by
Okay,
like a tram or something. Like
my
not to
notes are
laugh, like it was
wow, she
crazy.
really just didn't want to live anymore. She's like, I'm done. This
The
is
author
it.
was like,
Nope.
I'm done writing about this killer.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't even have
No,
a
it
funeral
just
for her. Nothing.
no, they didn't.
Mom's
Because then
gone.
that's what yeah, then that
Mom's
went her
gone.
whole thing about going back to the going to the front lines. But
She's like, oh, now I
yeah,
have
the
no family. I'm gonna go find my brother.
yeah. And I guess we only find out that Enva has the other powers from Roman's side, because Roman finds out when Dacre tries to go and kill basically his siblings or his
Yeah.
cousins that she already killed all of them to take their power, so he didn't have everything. Because if he had every single power, he'd be undefeatable.
Yeah, basically.
Honestly, it
Because he
honestly
would
felt like
control everything, like people's dreams,
yeah,
their like the rain. He would control
yeah,
all aspects of human
yeah,
life, and
yeah.
that's where I start getting suspicious. First of all, we have idiot Iris now that we're supposed to leave this to. She can't even figure out that she's
Idiot
talking
Iris.
to a god in her dream. She's like, "Who was that? Who do
Yeah.
you think it was? Who wants to kill him more than anyone?"
Bob from the cafe.
Yeah, the cafe. He's like a croissant and a
Yeah.
beheading.
I'm kidding.
I'm finding you, and you're
Lovely
like,
duo.
what? Again, she is our like the main journalist for this town. She is the one people
Yeah.
are relying on for information. She can't figure this out.
Yep.
Then we find out like the sibling is dead, the other god. And you're
Yes.
like, what happened? Who killed them? So I'm thinking, oh my God, there's a third God coming into play. And they are out killing all these other
Yes.
ones. And oh my God, now Dacre and Emma are going to team up. You know, I'm just creating these other
Yeah.
scenarios in my head. That clearly doesn't happen. And then I'm like, you know
Nope.
what? This is my moment. There's no way this story is as straightforward as it's been told to us. You know,
No.
don't insult me like that.
Yeah.
Clearly, this
Yeah.
was setting us up for something. I'm thinking,
Agreed.
and plot twist, Enva's going to be the villain. And
Yeah.
once again, I was let down.
Well, because I was even questioning why her song only reached certain people. Why do you need certain people? Why was because Iris, I think the
Oh
whole
yeah, they did
first
not
book.
explain that.
No, because she kept saying the first book, why didn't I hear the song? Why didn't I
Hmm.
hear this? Which I'm going back to our hate on Forrest here. Why didn't he go back to fight after he was back? I understand you're in a little bit of pain, but you purposely went for the safety of
Yeah,
your
good
family. But
point.
oh, I'm sorry, I'm back now. I'm not fighting.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go to work as a
maybe he had
mechanic.
like maybe he had PTSD, and he's like, you know what, not
Probably
for me.
PTSD.
I don't
Yeah, I'm
support
kind of
this
probably being
anymore.
too mean. I'm probably being too mean. He went to the doctor and everything during the
It's
second
okay.
book, you know.
This is a safe space.
There
Let it fly.
has to
Um,
be at least one person I absolutely despise in each book. Because if
yeah,
not, then I'm
Forrest. I mean, he
confused.
was useless in the second
Yeah,
book. Did nothing to
yeah,
help her out. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I really thought Enva was going to be the villain, and
yeah,
it wasn't. But we're okay with her going around killing her siblings because we find out she did it. So now she
yeah.
has all their powers. So we're cool with her walking the planet with
So
these,
now she is finally the one who has all the power at the end.
except for Dacre's powers because she didn't kill him.
Oh, because she didn't kill him. Yes. Okay. Never mind. So
So
that's a
she has
loophole
some,
there that I
but
yeah,
like suspicious.
yeah. Agreed. Yeah. I want to go back to Roman's dad for a bit
Okay,
because
it's like you're in my brain because I was literally just about to say we need to talk about his dad.
he was honestly the most intriguing group character because there were a couple people involved in the second one. I thought he was just going to be, I'm hateful, I can't stand this. But then, I don't know, like, he gave me back and forth vibes in the second one. I'm like, okay, you
Oh,
must know something about Dacre that we don't know, that you're so into favoring him. And no one went against him. The grandmother who we found out about in the first one about the typewriter being hers, she didn't do anything to go against him in the books. I was hoping
yeah.
some family banter would have helped.
I don't think we ever found out why the dad was supporting him.
I think he only did it because he wanted to be on the right side of the war.
What he
I
thought
think
was the
he
right
was
side. Yeah.
I think he was totally the I need to be in with the good group or the popular group. That was my
Yeah.
take.
The dad, I literally wrote in my things like the worst, all capitals.
Yeah.
He is such a coward, just
100.
trying to be in the good graces. He knew his son was basically being enslaved. So Roman
Yeah.
is under Dacre's control and being forced to write stories from Dacre's perspective that he does not
Yeah.
believe in. He was not on that side of the war. The dad knows this and does absolutely nothing to save his kid.
He was happy.
Happy
I
that
think
he
at
was
some
doing this.
point
And
he
he was
said
like,
he was happy.
just keep doing what you're doing. He's proud of you.
Yeah. Uh,
Disgusting. And then he
Yeah,
lets
I
them use their house because their house had the door that connected to the
yeah.
underneath. Just like letting them use their house as the headquarters. And I'm like, you have all this staff that works for you. Were they all
Right.
brainwashed into being okay with this? I'm
I were
very confused. And the whole
yeah.
time, Roman's living in the underrealm area when he could have been in
Like
his
right
house.
under there.
He's been
Exactly.
underneath his house the whole time.
Yeah. I question if Dacre took over because you were talking about the servants and the people who work at the house. I wonder if he took their memories as well and put them into soldiers
Yeah,
because it honestly
I
just
think so.
seems like he was plucking people left and right and
Oh
just
yeah.
taking their memories.
Hmm. Yeah, honestly, so spineless of the dad. The mom, I think she was just kind of along for the ride. She just didn't seem like the type of woman that was going to speak up for herself, and
Rocking the boat by anyways.
she was not going to go against him. And then the dad trying to pay off Iris to divorce his son. It's just so sketchy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that whole part, I just enjoyed Roman's side of the story so much more in the second one as well. That as much as I
Hmm.
hated the dad, I liked that we got that part of him and understood what was going on with the
Yeah.
dad. But I didn't like him. He was another one that I it was
Yeah.
good to have someone to hate and not want to root for. But
Oh, yeah, you definitely needed that.
you definitely have to, because if not, it goes back to us being suspicious on everything.
Hmm.
Everyone's so happy-go-lucky on the other side, and then
Yeah.
it's just him being ridiculous.
Hmm. And then, but the dad's associate, didn't he end up at the end? He was like a double agent almost.
Yeah, I think he tried to be, but he ended up getting in trouble for it. I
Yeah.
think, yeah,
I
him and then
happy.
Roman's ex-fiance or whatever, that whole group.
I am happy that that happened. So,
Same.
uh, Iris and Addie go to save the day. Addie just happened to have a violin still save. There were so many breadcrumbs for the reader,
Yeah,
which is fine. They go and they end up killing Dacre. Great, day is saved. And then all the Dacre supporters are now being executed.
yeah,
And thank God she got to Roman in time because they were just ready. And she just happened to have the letter still, which was good that he had given her secret information. So we save him.
yeah,
And then we find out that his dad's going to jail. And then same with the ex fiance and her father, but they were in jail for life.
yeah, exactly, because
I
they
think
made
it
the
said that
gas
his
bomb.
dad, it was like 30 years, but he probably would die in
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
But the mom
exactly.
didn't get anything.
No, because I think she was just kind of a
But
I
she
guess
let them in
guilty
her
by
home. So,
association? Yeah, exactly. It could have been something, but yeah, we didn't find out anything about the mom or the grandmother at that point. It was kind of just they were characters, but we didn't get
yeah,
anything else
it's kind of
about
a
what
loose end.
happened. I was really
And
hoping the
then,
grandmother kind of came down from her wings,
yeah.
swinging a cane or something. It was just going wild.
And
Grandma's going
then
wild is what I was hoping for.
that would have been awesome. Imagine she come in and she like just killed them all, like
Right?
off with their heads.
Get out of my house.
Yep. Um, and then while Iris is killing Dacre, the whole city of Oath is being bombed. And thank God
Yeah.
Roman had the information about the ley lines, which is how we found out that the house was able to be magical. Were you upset about Forrest and Prindle? I can't remember her first name.
Was it Sarah?
Maybe it was her
Sarah,
coworker that
Sandy.
her
It
brother
was
ended
with
up
an S.
dating,
Yeah.
and they end up dying.
So I wasn't upset, but the whole it's gonna sound bad. When they died, they were still holding hands. Like,
Oh,
okay,
so
cool.
corny, so corny.
Yeah, it was very Lupin and Tonks. It was okay, they're dead holding hands. I'm gonna bring everything back to Harry Potter, hence the
It's fine.
background, but you're gonna hear that a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I was sad in the sense that they didn't have the opportunity to build up the relationship, but
Hmm.
specifically Forrest and Iris. But um, it was kind of okay. This happened. It seemed like that happened probably to a lot of people who were trying to rush to a specific location to hide in, and
Yeah.
or who realized, oh, we're all getting bombed. We don't want to be on this side of the war. We want to be on this side instead. So it
Hmm.
was kind of give or take, I guess. I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah. I was sad for Prindle because I
Yeah,
felt like she was I liked her. She was just there. She
yeah,
was, I had no issues with her. So I'm sad she left.
yeah.
Forrest, I was like, karma.
Okay.
Karma. You left Roman
Yeah,
for dead.
yeah. Now
And
it's
look at
you.
you.
Yeah,
You were so close to the building.
yeah.
Honestly, I was kind of just so annoyed with him. I was like, okay,
You were
like
ready.
He can go
You
out
were
this way,
done.
it's fine. I was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm assuming her dad died too because he was still back at the house and they basically
Prindles?
bombed that entire, yeah.
Oh
Because
yeah,
they
I'm
were
a
trying to go back to save him. Like, I think he's
yeah.
dead before you even made it. No offense, but
Yeah, I don't think he made it. But it was kind of sad that Iris was the one that found her brother and her.
yeah.
That must have been horrible for her, but I was not
Yeah.
upset that they did not survive. I mean, if
Yeah.
everyone in the book had like, our main group of people, if they had all survived, it would have been unrealistic. We need a little bit of drama here.
Exactly. Yeah. You needed someone to die, but I think because Forrest was such a nah, I could give or take with him. I think Prindle was supposed to be the one that you felt
Yeah.
more towards. But I think we could have done with a more popular character probably dying. I think I don't did
Mm.
Keegan end up being the counselor, chancellor, or whatever it was? Because that was my suspicions at the end. They didn't mention who it was. They just said
Oh.
she will be there. I thought she stepped into that role or Marisol, but I would have been, as bad as it sounds, I would have been fine with one of them dying because I think it would have been more impactful to the
Yeah,
war.
if I had to pick between the two of them, I'd pick Keegan. I had less of an
I would have
interest
picked
in her.
Keegan too. Yeah,
That's a good point though. I didn't even connect that about the Chancellor, but that would make sense if it was her.
because the other one got killed during that
Yep.
initial bombing that was supposed to
Hmm.
kill Dacre or
Yeah,
whatever. But
the little ceremony thing they were having.
yeah,
I need to talk about the epilogue.
please do. Actually, that's what more of my notes are from was that specific
This
section.
Yes, this is the only thing that I can't.
Yeah.
And I think I texted you right after, like, what is this?
I think you did. I was waiting for you because I saw you marked it as red. Like, okay,
Oh my god.
let's go.
If you're gonna give me an epilogue, give me an epilogue. It needs to contribute to the story.
Yes.
So when I saw epilogue, I was like, yes, here we go. What bombshell? We've just gone through this bombing. People have died. Like
Right.
the executions, all that. Great. Think the war's over. Oh my God. What is about to happen in this?
Yeah.
And when I tell you she gave us nothing, she gave us,
Yeah.
I left with more questions.
Yeah.
I felt like the last chapter, pretty much everything was tied up with a bow. The epilogue left
100%.
things more confusing. So that irritated me.
Yeah.
Why? What editor signed off on that? But
Yeah.
we see Enva. She's sitting in the cafe that Addie's whole family was in while they were bombing. And
Yeah.
she's like, I come to this cafe every year on the anniversary of Dacre's death. And the same guy serves me my tea and whatever,
Yeah.
pastries.
Yeah.
And he never recognizes me because I'm thinking she's wiping his memory. And I know
Maybe.
she's always been described as like very ordinary looking. She blends in, like people wouldn't even recognize that she was a god.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, this is the moment. We're going to find out that Enva is actually Marisol. It's actually Keegan. It's a character we've
Yeah.
known this whole time. And I was on the edge of my seat, like, oh my God, yes, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Who is it? And when we don't find, she's literally just Enva.
Yeah.
She's no one. And then she just goes, and now I'm going to walk to the door that they went through to go to the underrealm because she's basically trapped. The deal she made with
Yeah.
the king, she can't leave Oath. So she's not able to go to the places that she used to roam. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, if I go underneath, I probably can go further,
That was so
I think is
weird.
the thought process. But it's like, yeah, you can go further underneath, but you can't go through the doors because then you would technically have left Oath on, real world.
Right.
So what's the point of going underneath? Just so you can walk around, stretch your legs a
I
little,
don't
get some
know.
steps?
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
don't get it.
why give us a whole chapter about her sitting in this cafe every
Yeah.
year and she's just ordinary people if there's not going to be any twist?
Yeah.
Am I
I
missing
was
something?
expecting something. I don't know, 'cause didn't she start playing music too down there? She took her musical instrument and started playing because now she doesn't have to necessarily worry because I don't think there's any.
She
Oh,
just went down there just to play the harp,
I don't know, because are all of
walk
Dacre's
10,000 steps.
animals or creatures down there still? Are they still technically
And
there? So is she just
I would think they
playing
would
music for her?
die.
I was wondering that too. Like, did they die with his power and him? That was just kind
I
of all
assumed
at the
they died
same
with
time.
him, but maybe
I don't know.
she's
I
playing the
didn't
flute
understand
to
it.
make them fly? I have literally no clue. But I was like,
I don't know.
perfect, again, perfect opportunity. You have set yourself up perfectly. You've
Yeah.
gotten three-quarters of the way there and then drops the ball. That would
Yeah,
have
I
been
would have
an
loved if we
amazing
found out.
ending.
Yeah. I would have
This whole
loved
time,
if we found
Enva's
out
been
that it was
Marisol.
Marisol. Yeah, exactly. It
Perfect
would have been
ending.
perfect.
Again, put us in a focus group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Can
we're
we do the
here.
test read, the beta reads, please?
Give us an
Because I would
arc
have loved
while
it.
there's still time to edit it. And like, we will give you all the things that you need.
Yeah, exactly. Because then it makes it more powerful of wow, Iris and
Yes.
Addie trusted her fully with their life. And it ends up being this person who, we just thought was an ordinary person, but ended up being someone super close. It was guiding them along the way.
Yes. And I would feel more comfortable because now we've just left. We're like, we know Enva has all these powers of all the other gods that she killed.
Yeah,
And, we're just taking it that she's the good person. If it came
yeah,
out, oh, she was Marisol this whole time, I would have been
yeah,
like, you know what? Yes, she was a good person. She was guiding them. She was taking care of the sick. But no,
yeah.
I still have no clue who Enva is. So she still
I,
could be a bad person in my book. She's
I
just
don't
down there
know.
playing her harp, planning her next move
Yeah, because she
to
also
take
has
over the
all the power
humans.
of nightmares. It's not
Yeah.
just dreams, it's nightmares too. So she could be messing with everyone. She could literally
So
drive
I don't
people to
trust her.
madness if she wants to. No,
And you know what kills me
nope.
is there's not another book. This is just a duology. So there's not going to be a third book. So
Uh,
why did you leave me with an epilogue that gives me more questions?
yeah, I don't know. You know what it is? Is when you get the epilogue that has the questions that are just, oh my God, that was an awesome. I don't know which way it's gonna go.
Yeah.
Of who is it or what happened? Those are great. This one, I had more questions of, okay, well, what's gonna happen? I need another epilogue. Give me a second version down the line. Give me
Yeah.
one, 2 years later. I need
Yes.
something.
Yes. And then just like not specific to this book, but like epilogues in general. Do you feel like
Yeah.
everyone's just throwing an epilogue around now? Recently, like I feel like every book I read now has an epilogue.
So yeah, it's not. It's basically as if the book ends. Okay, cool. But you're gonna get this little snippet in whether it's a future, you know,
Yeah.
5, 10 years down the line, or if it's only 2 days. Everyone seems to be adding them in. And I
Yeah.
don't know,
Which
maybe
like
it's the same type of books we keep reading, but
yeah.
it could be that, but
I love an
everything.
epilogue, but it needs to add to the story. And
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes people are now just putting them in and they're not adding value to the story. So just end it.
Yeah.
We don't need the extra in 2 years. She went down to the basement and played her harp. It did nothing.
Nope.
Also, an epilogue that's literally 2 days later. I'm like, this is a chapter. Don't
It,
mark it as an
thank
epilogue.
you.
It's the chapter. An
Thank you.
epilogue in my book has to at least be 6 months.
I was just going to say 6 months at least because I need some time for whether they've adjusted to their new life together or separately or some
Yes.
big thing happened. They need to adjust to it. You need that time and then give me an update. That'd be
Yes.
like if something big happened in our lives. I would want an update in 6 months because in 2 days, I'm probably still going to be feeling the same exact way as I did beforehand.
Exactly. Exactly. But so this one I will say it had a good
Yeah.
time jump. It was like 2 years
Yes.
later, but no value.
Just
It
not the
should have just,
content
I
I
think
was
they should have cut
expecting.
it. I just don't think it did
Yeah.
anything. Just cut it.
No. I really think it just gave Enva's still out there playing music,
She's
but that
still
was
out there
it.
stringing her harp.
She still loves
Watch
that
out.
harp. Yeah,
She's still haunting your dreams. She could be coming
yeah.
back. She might come
She
for you
could be putting you to
guys.
sleep.
She might get
It.
power hungry down there.
Yeah, I don't know.
She
It
might
was
bond with
the
the
ending was just
wyvern
odd.
and decide to bomb the place. Who knows? They put a lot of trust in her.
Yeah,
Is she still keeping in touch with
yeah.
Iris? Who knows? That would have been interesting. Look at all these
Right.
things
I
we
still
just
come into your
brainstormed.
dreams. Yeah. Like, did she still hang out with her in her dreams? Hi, I'm your mom again. Your dead
Yeah.
mom, because you can't trust on who I am.
Mhm. Yeah. But
Yeah,
I mean, overall, I liked the two books.
yeah,
I would say
yeah,
overall the series was like a 4-star series for me.
yeah.
Um, but
I'd go 3.5 if I had to. If I could do halves, I'd do
you
3.5 for
can do
sure.
halves. You can do halves in
Yeah.
this space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like a 4. I would just say like if someone asked me if I would recommend it, I would say yes, I recommend, but you have to be in the right mood to read it. So
Yeah.
like if you need to DNF it like I had to and then pick it back up a couple months later,
Yeah.
do that. It's definitely not what I think would be like if you were just coming off of a book hangover, this is not the book to pick up. This is,
Ag-
you're just kind of on a steady pace.
yeah,
And go into it just knowing it's slower. And it's
agreed.
not like other fantasy books where there's a lot of action happening.
I was actually going to say, I think this, and I've seen a bunch of people on TikTok and Instagram who specifically said, "Oh, what's a first good fantasy book to get people into the space?" And I think this could be a good
Mm,
beginner one just because you don't have that crazy suspicions. You're just getting something
yeah.
joyful and light, even though there's war in it. But it's just something there to read. And then I would go farther into the other ones that you get more of. Okay, let me get my notes out because I need to remember who is who, where are they located, and get the
Hmm.
maps and situated there. But
Yeah. You
this
don't
is
have all
just a
that like
light
world
read.
building.
Yeah, this is perfect. Of I don't have a lot of brain space for a crazy series. Let me
Hmm.
just read a two book. This is perfect for that, and
Yes.
a good starter if you're really trying to get into
Hmm.
it.
And it's perfect because as of right now, when we are recording this, the two books are on Kindle Unlimited. So if you
Exactly.
have that, they're
Yeah.
free to put on your Kindle. So that always makes
Yeah.
it nicer.
Exactly.
But no, I liked it.
Yeah. I like you said, I
Hated
would
the ending, but I liked it.
for all of the negativity we might have said, I still liked it and I would still recommend it to someone. But if they were on the level of detail and wanting a lot more to a world building, then I would not recommend this to that person. But if they were
Yeah.
just looking for a light book that had some magic in it, here you go.
Yeah. I
Sign you
mean,
up.
it definitely does not be fourth wing for me
No.
by any means, but it's
Yeah.
good. Is it in the same
Yeah.
realm? No, but it's good.
No. No, this
It's
is
good.
definitely unfortunately a little bit farther down
Yeah.
on the list.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, if you're still listening to us, thank you, because we just rambled on about two books for a long time. We're just super happy that you're on this journey with us. In our next book club read, we're doing When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. So super excited for that because I've heard a lot of buzz about this book, and I'm just intrigued on how
Yeah.
it's going to be.
And I will say
And
every book will be fantasy. These first two just happen to be because I just feel like we're in like a fantasy mood recently. We've really been gravitating
yeah,
towards that here. But
we
like
really have
we are smut readers to our core, so there will be smut
100%. Yeah,
thrown in here. We're
exactly.
just in a fantasy mood right now, but
Yeah. So I guess that's a good warning of what to expect is not always
it'll do everything.
fantasy.
Maybe a murder
Yeah,
mystery.
exactly. And you'll find more things because that will just keep posting
Hmm.
constantly. And if you're looking for those updates for our book club episodes, any other fun things that we have going on, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Booktroverts Pod and leave a rating review and even book recommendations because we're always looking for new books, especially because we pretty much just go for each other for those. And we'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas. But
Yeah, and we have goals of reading 100 books this year, so
we're
we
trying.
need to get through that.
Lots of book recommendations would be needed.
Hmm. Yes. Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.